So with this series, there's such a complexity that Jane Campion brings to it. It almost feels like a crime drama, but all the moments in between rather than a straight up procedural. I'm just curious when you read the script and then when you're on set and have that kind of freedom to breathe that the medium of television allows. What attracted you to this kind of project in that sense?
Honestly, the first one, I just was hoping to get the job. I auditioned for it, so I was hoping to get it. And the opportunity to work with Jane Campion was obviously incredible. She has an amazing history with women, with actresses. That's, we all want to work with her. So that was the attraction the first time, was just getting to work with Jane, and I never thought that I would get the part. And then I did.
And just with your relationship with Gwendolyn Christie's character in the show, I watched 4 out of the 6 episodes last night, and it's such a roller coaster of where it heads. And I'm just curious, like interacting with her and kind of seeing the humor she brings. What was it like from the script to the screen?
I was so excited to work with her, and I showed up to our first rehearsal, and she was sitting on the floor in workout clothes, and she just was so cool and so normal and so grounded, and I knew right away that we were going to have an amazing experience together, and then we became really, really good friends, which is an added bonus.
And so here at the Film Society, we have a tagline called "Film Lives Everywhere" that we kind of expanded from "Film Lives Here," and it's just kind of to show how cinema can dissolve borders and bring people together, and it's kind of a really important medium. And with your career working with Ruben Östlund, who will have the Square at New York Film Festival coming up, and working with Jane Campion, how have either your cinema-going habits or your career in general, how have you embraced that idea?
Yeah, a lot of the actresses that I admire work internationally quite a bit, and I think it's really important to not just think that this is it's all Hollywood and all LA, that there's so many incredible filmmakers out there all around the world, and I've been really grateful to have the opportunity to work with a couple of them, Ruben and Jane, and I hope to continue to be able to do that. I think I love working with different kinds of filmmakers, and that's kind of one of the ways to do it, is to go to another country and try a different style.
And so here at the Film Society, this event kicks off a week-long retrospective of all of Jane Campion's films, including short films. I'm curious what your relationship has been to her work previous, their Top of the Lake, maybe the first film you saw of hers or anything like that.
I think the first film I saw was The Piano, which I went with my parents to the theater and saw because we didn't know that it was slightly risque. And then, obviously, so many things over the years have been so moving to me. I think I've seen almost everything now. I wish I could come to the retrospective, and I live right around the corner, so it'd be super convenient.
Yeah, anytime. We'll get you tickets, don't worry.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Congrats on the show, and congrats on the premiere.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks.
So I saw you from Partisan at Sundance, and it was great. I actually interviewed you way back then during that press tour, and so it was awesome to see that you were involved with this project. And there was such an intensity to Partisan, and I feel like with this movie you're able to inject that, but there's much more breathing room and kind of nuance is available in this kind of space. Can you talk about kind of collaborating with Jane Campion and bringing that to the TV screen?
Well, for me, it was like the ultimate opportunity to kind of learn from a master. Directing can kind of sometimes be a lonely profession. You're surrounded by a lot of collaborators, but not really anyone else knows what you're going through. It's hard to kind of express that to people, but to kind of do it and collaborate with Jane as a co-director was a real special, one-of-a-kind experience. And I guess my role, the way I saw it, her and Jared had this kind of beautiful baby together, and then when it came to raise it, Jared just left. So she just needed someone to help her raise her baby. And I just came on as a, babysitter.
Nice. And if you read the script of this, there's kind of a darkness to it, but you bring I would say, pretty big visual warmth to kind of the setting and the characters, and that's also the writing. But can you talk about kind of having that bright and dark dynamic to the series?
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of it's built into the script. To me, it seemed like they'd kind of taken the tone of season 1 and then just stretched it. So the hilarious moments are way more hilarious, and the darker moments go really dark. So, that's, for me as a director, that's the most exciting stuff, is playing around with that tone and finding the truth within this world that they created.
Nice. And so here at the Film Society of Lincoln Center, we have a new tagline called "Film Lives Everywhere," kind of expanded from "Film Lives Here," and it just kind of talks about how cinema can dissolve borders, bring communities together. It's really important to kind of see into another community to perhaps change your mindset about things. I'm curious, can you talk about that either in your own filmmaking or your movie habits or movie watching, how it's expanded your kind of cultural awareness?
Film in general.
Yeah.
Well, I guess like growing up, film was like my education on the world. I spent a lot of time watching videotapes and then DVDs, and I understood a lot about, I learnt a lot about cultures and countries and people that I'd never met, and that's what I love most about cinema. It teaches us about ourselves, and it teaches us about others too. So,
amazing. Well, thank you so much. Congrats on the premiere in the series. I can't wait to see what you do next.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you. We're very excited to have you for not only tonight, but the retrospective as well. But first, I want to ask you about Top of the Lake. There's such a range of complexity in the drama and the humor. And can you talk about, it feels like a crime drama, but with, rather than being a procedural, almost you see everything in between that a lot of crime dramas leave out. Can you talk about crafting that story, and especially for this second installment?
Thank you. Well, I just love the crime genre, just for the motor it gives you, the shape it gives you, and the sort of passage through darkness. It's kind of mythic in a way. Like the character has to meet the criminal in those dark places, and they're in danger of being overwhelmed, and it gives you a lot of, therefore, intersections with character story, especially with Elizabeth's character, who's got a pretty dark and difficult history, and she's really struggling to find a way to make life work. I mean, I don't think that's too distant a story for a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. It's a hard old road, life, and also the humour. I mean, I think the tone of Top of the Lake is what both series makes it unique for me and Gerard, and also that, I mean, there's other people that do beautiful tones, but this is kind of our thing to do, to love the absurd, to be human, to look at tragedy and also find it, funny and painful, and hopefully, not be jarring in that tone. Like we can sort of go between funny and touching pretty quickly.
Oh, it definitely does that.
We just really want to entertain people in a way that we feel like we're taking a couple of hours, or 6 hours of their time, and they're going to feel like something happened there.
So my next question is, here at Film Society of Lincoln Center, we have a new tagline called Film Lives Everywhere, kind of expanded from Film
is everywhere?
Film Lives Everywhere. Okay. So it used to be Film Lives Here, but it kind of to show how cinema can dissolve borders and bring community and bring communities together and kind of bring cultural awareness. I learned a lot about where you're from your films, and I feel like that happens all over the world. And I'm curious, can you just talk about that idea and whether it's filmmaking yourself or...
Let's talk to that idea, because for me, I was thinking about why I got into this industry in the first place. It was through the work of seeing the great cinema artists like Buñuel and like Coppola and like Bertolucci. When I first saw their movies, I felt a bit dead about the world, really. And when I started to see their films, I went like, oh my God, these people are seeing the world in extraordinary ways. They sort of gave me an invitation about how to be with the world, how to comment, how to see it, how to look at it. And never I thought about making them at that stage, but it just felt like there was some grown-ups there that were really exciting and engaging, and I felt that invitation. I really moved towards it, just kept moving towards it until, here I am, I'm a filmmaker too. I never would have had that idea that I was ever going to make a feature film, never, when I began.
You have made an amazing body of work, and we're excited to show your films over the next week and a half or so. And my last question is just can you talk about what film you're most excited for audiences to perhaps re-embrace or see for the first time for some of them?
I think it's often your forgotten children that you sort of hope that people might see again. Like, Ashley in the Cut is one of them. I felt got a rough ride when it first came out. I think Meg Ryan is amazing in it, but I wasn't culturally astute enough to understand that what was happening to America's sweetheart, the change that she was going through to play this character was kind of beyond the soul of America at the time. And I just saw Meg as this great actor, and I do think that that was quite hard. for people, and also that I think it's a very strong book, and Susanna Moore's a great writer. I love the book so much, but it's tearing the female voice critique guys in a not so gorgeous way, and that's kind of a shock for a lot of the critics at the time. Like they were feeling a little hurt, I think. But people starting to embrace that movie. In London, they put on a special screening. I went along, and it was very nice. It was encouraging. It was really nice to hear people.
Well, we're excited to have you for the rest of the weekend, and we'll be talking again tomorrow and Saturday. So thank you. We're with Film Society of Lincoln Center, so we're having a retrospective of all of Jane Campion's films. So we're really excited. Oh, nice, awesome. So I had a chance to watch 4 of the episodes of this new season, and your arc is very compelling and very interesting. And I feel like there's such room for you to breathe and really explore your character very fully. What was it like on set with that environment of being able to kind of stretch the boundaries of kind of a normal crime drama, you would say?
It was really great. We also had a quite extensive rehearsal period so by the time we got to shooting, I felt like I knew how to be the difficult person that Mary is in nearly any situation. And that didn't mean I knew exactly what she would do, but I knew the sort of the landscape of where she might go. And what was very interesting about playing her is that it was sort of about playing somebody who keeps losing control or is not able to behave in a way that they want to behave, which is great. And I think it's like a great lesson, no matter what kind of character you're playing, that you should always like have a plan, and then you should always be ready to like kill that plan and just do whatever feels real.
So, like I said, we're doing the retrospective, and I'm sure. Have you seen every film by Mrs. Campion? Mom? Yeah, I don't know. Did she make you watch them, or were you on your own? Did you?
No, she didn't make me watch them. That would be such a weird problem to tell your therapist. Mom made me watch her amazing films. Look, when I was 13, I have told this story before. I'm sorry, it's not an original tidbit right now. But when I was 13, I remember I hadn't seen The Piano or Holy Smoke, or In the Cut for that matter. Though I had been around, actually very close to where we're staying right now when they were making it. But some boys at school came and were like, "Your mom makes sexy films," and I was like, "No, she does not." And then I watched her films, and I was like, yes, she does. Yes, she does.
That's awesome. So with this retrospective, what kind of films are you excited for audiences to see again, or maybe experience for the first time? Is there any in particular?
I think they should definitely see all of them. But I think they should definitely see Sweetie, because it's magnificent, and it was the first feature, and it had it's such an interesting film because it went to Cannes, and people left the cinema when it was originally screened, but a core group remained, and they were the right people, and it's just interesting how much you can just feel like you're absolutely sucking and stuff, and it's just, there's always another side. There's always another side. There's always the creativity. There's always the work, and if you keep doing that, definitely see Portrait of a Lady, because that's a super lush, beautiful experience. Nicole Kidman again. Oh my God. Viggo Mortensen, Christian Bale young, so hot. Sorry,
There it is. That's our trailer right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna do every one of them now. Oh wait, you might even want that, because you'll literally put them in. All right.
This is exactly what we need.
Angel at My Table, again, an epic saga and exploration of femininity and curiosity and youth, and what it feels like to have a crutch or a habit, or In the Cut, amazing. Some seriously tight, beautiful, kind of it's yummy. It's and it's deep, and it's punchy, and I know you gotta go. Holy smoke, a riot. Top of the Lake, obviously the best. Yeah, Bright Star, beautiful. Nearly all my favorite people in the world were in the crew or in the film. So
Now we are screening her short films too, but I won't make you go through all of those.
The Water Diary, amazing. Yeah.
All right, so my last question, since you've been so generous, we have a new tagline here.
Easier to talk about other people.
Yeah, there you go. Well, here. Yeah. So at Film Society of Lincoln Center, our tagline had been "Film lives here," and we've expanded that to be "Film lives everywhere," and kind of embracing the idea that cinema can dissolve borders, bring community together, bring cultural awareness. Can you talk about that perhaps in your own viewing habits and seeing the world in different cultures through film?
Yeah, I mean, I there's not even much to say in a way. It's completely true that film or story lives everywhere. It's part of what makes us human, and it brings understanding, and understanding helps us deal with our personal bad science, which we're constantly indulging in our lives, and I think that we need to be able to see beautiful, honest work and fun, but that thing that makes you trust it and makes you pay attention, and it's like a little finger that goes in you, and it's you're oh yeah, even if it's silly, if it's seriously silly and good, you feel it, and I think that's so important.
Well, thank you so much. Have fun at this premiere, and hope to see you around here for a few more films during the retrospective.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Did I leave any of the films out? The piano.
You got the piano out, yeah.
Duh. Piano. Duh.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Duh. All of them. Duh. Yeah. If I've forgotten any of them,
We'll splice it
that's
together.
don't read into it.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Thank you. I'm just curious, with there's such humor at first, and then more is revealed, and it's very, a roller coaster almost of emotions you go through, and especially your relationship with Elizabeth Moss's character. Can you talk about kind of reading the script and then kind of actually, finding that balance on set?
Well, I was just so enormously lucky that Jane and Gerard wrote this part for me. And on the very first day, Lizzie and I had a very natural chemistry that just really worked. And she's so delightful to work with and to be around, has such an amazing sense of humour that you found that it just sort of flowed. And I was very lucky in that both Ari and Jane encouraged me to go further with the character and take, more risks and to really explore that space.
And so here at Film Society of Lincoln Center, we're also doing a retrospective, and this kind of kicks things off of all of Jane Campion's films, including shorts. And I'm just curious if you had anything to tell our audience about perhaps your first time watching one of her films, or what you hope someone maybe seeks out, maybe an underrated film or anything like that.
Well, I remember actually watching In the Cut at the cinema and finding it to be have such a unique form. It was this sort of noir thriller, but so deeply, it had a femininity to it that I hadn't really experienced before in film, and I loved there's a real suspense and sense of mystery. I really loved it.
And my last question is just here at Film Society, we have a new tagline, "Film lives everywhere." It used to be "Film lives here," and it just kind of to show film lives everywhere. The idea that cinema can dissolve borders and bring people together and bring cultural awareness to people. With Jane Campion's films, I've seen New Zealand for the first time and things like that. Can you talk about how maybe in your own life, your own viewing habits, how the idea of that film lives everywhere has shaped the way you view culture?
Well, I think art is really powerful, isn't it? Because it has the ability to transform. And it has the ability to transform the way that we think and the decisions that we make in our lives. And therefore it's vital to me that a wide range of topics should really be explored in our film. I think that we live in a world with such a diverse cross-section of society that should really be represented on our screens. And the more that we explore the differences between us in human beings, I think the greater it brings us together, because we identify the fundamental similarities.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the premiere, and it was great talking with you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.